Hello, you guys. Welcome to the Ranting Shop. I'm not gonna stay too long on this Ultimatum South Africa reunion because it was extremely disappointing. They spent like 27 minutes and 15 seconds on Nola and Lebo, and I felt like that was completely unnecessary. Like, yes, on the show, their blow up, it caused a big scene. Okay, fine. But to make that so much of the reunion, I thought it was unnecessary. There were so many awkward silences that it's like, okay, so nobody's gonna say anything. Like, is there a commercial? It was just so long, drawn out, unnecessary, excruciating, and very uncomfortable to watch because you're literally, it's almost like you're in this awkward situation and you don't know what to do with yourself. Like, am I supposed to sing at this point? Cry, jump, take a bathroom break? Like, what is this? So they started with Ruth and all of her, she's very opinionated and she stands on business and they speak on that. And what I did not like about this reunion is I felt like everybody was so reserved. It's like they saw themselves on Netflix and decided, you know what, I'm gonna pull back because I'm not proud of what I did. And I saw that with Ruth. And as opinionated and as, you know, unashamed as she was of her actions, I feel like rewatching, it made her ashamed. I think she was embarrassed that she kind of indirectly contributed to the demise of a relationship. It made her feel horrible about herself and her actions. But I just wish that she spoke more about the experience at that moment because that is what the reunion was missing. Yes, it's been a year since the reunion has been filmed and you guys have moved on, but you're revisiting the past. So I feel like it's only right to go back into that mind space and talk about how you felt during that mind space, during that period of time. You can always go and say, okay, now I've changed. Now I've done this and I've done that and I've done therapy and I've done this. But that is what was missing. They didn't go back and fully live or relive that moment. It just seemed like they wanted to shut it down and let it go. And I didn't like that. Nobody watches a reunion for it to be this. Everybody watches a reunion for people to address things, not for it to be rushed and swept under rugs. But anyways, Ruth is in another relationship. Isaac is in another relationship. And Isaac wishes Ruth the best. Ruth says that Isaac is a great guy and she hopes that he continues to grow in a positive way or whatever that was. Either way it goes, disappointing. We go to Nola and Lebo. Nola is thinking their relationship is great. They got back together. Everything is going well. He's thinking the relationship is working. He sacrificed for this relationship. He decided, you know what? I'm gonna turn down some international offers for me to be there with Lebo to make this work. And he's thinking they're good. To his surprise, he finds out that Lebo is not happy in the relationship. And she takes that opportunity to then break up with him on national TV, completely blindsides him. And to be honest with you, Isaac was really excited, like, go girl, you go, and clapping and doing the most. Aiden is clapping silently. I think they're both privy to Lebo, I guess, confiding in them about what she was facing, being in a relationship with Nola. I think they've probably told her, if you're not happy, leave. Isaac was like, oh, yeah, we've had conversations like this. She's not happy. And to Nola's shock, that's the first time he's finding out that Lebo wasn't happy. Lebo's inability to share that with Nola, to me, speaks to either the fact that she's been saying it and she was being ignored, or she was so tuned out of the relationship she didn't want to make it work, so she confided in outside parties, right? She wanted to blindside him. She wanted to hurt him. She wanted this to be her get back at Nola. And to be honest with you, she did a good job, but I cannot help but feel sorry for Nola, because I could tell that he looked genuinely blindsided, and also he looked genuinely distraught. And I guess there's no backstage, so he walks off and he is like emotional. He wants to cry. He probably sheds a couple tears because this is embarrassing. Then Genesis decides to, go up, speak to him, tell him essentially that women take a lot of mess from men, and he's gonna have to suck it up and just see it as consequences of his actions and move on. That's essentially what Genesis told him. At least Genesis was attempting to be there for him in that moment, because I don't think anybody else on this cast really cares for him. So I'm happy that Genesis did that. One thing I've seen about Genesis is he tries his utmost to be very emotionally mature, and I have to congratulate him for being that way. So that happened. Nola comes back on the stage and clearly he's hurt. He apologizes to Ruth. And I do understand that, oh, let's get him back because he cheated on her and he did this to her. But at the end of the day, him or she taking him back in hindsight doesn't seem like she took him back because she loved him, so to speak. I think the moment he cheated, she had already left that relationship. So for her to go back to him, it was kind of weird. It's leading me to believe that she did it in order for this to happen, for her to hurt him the way he hurt her. And it worked. Congratulations to Lebo. I'm happy that she's moving on from Nola. I don't necessarily agree with the way it happened. I think it could have been done in a better way. But I guess when somebody hurts you, you only have one thing on your mind, which is to hurt them back equally. So she got it. She did it. It's done. Now, Nola is trying to do the math, and he's thinking, because previously Isaac said he's talking to someone. So Nola is thinking that Lebo is the one that Isaac was talking to. And then and then Isaac is like, you see, that's why she's breaking up with you, because these are the conclusions that you're making. How could you think this? But then can you blame Nola for thinking like that? Because at the end of the day, he's the one in the relationship with Lebo, and he had no idea that Lebo wasn't happy, but then you knew. And you probably knew she was gonna break up with him, but Nola had no clue. Now, what I think of that is she was probably visibly unhappy, but Nola ignored it. Because sometimes, as Genesis says, when women are the most quiet, well, Nola came to that conclusion. When women are talkative and they talk and they tell you, I want this, I want that, and you ignore them, thinking they'll stay forever, the moment they become silent is the moment you should be worried. Because at that moment, the woman has probably already checked out. And there's probably nothing you could do to get her back. So he probably missed the mark. Some men are clueless. And I feel like it's not even that they're clueless. It's that they see things, but they're choosing to be oblivious. They're choosing to act like they didn't see what they saw because they're so delulu and they think that everything could work and everything could be fixed, and it's like it can't. And Lebo felt like he is unable to see his actions, he's unable to notice that he's the problem, and I hope that one day he does realize that. Lebo looks so disinterested at that moment, and it's clear that she's disassociated from Nola even before he came to the realization. Now, I said it was sad but necessary. I also said it was a bit cruel. Aiden tells her he's glad she sees the light. Isaac, to me, was a little hypocritical, telling Nola he's being dumped because of his thinking. Because Isaac was also dumped because of his thinking. So, I guess both of them are similar, but I guess Isaac feels a bit of vindication because Nola slept with his woman at that moment. So, I guess it's a bit of personal get back. So I understand Isaac's excitement and him piping up and everything. But anyways, I'm not gonna make this entirely about Lebo and Nola's situation. The point of the matter is they're not together anymore, and it made a very awkward show. Now, as far as Genesis and Tabby, and on the show they proposed and everything, and he sent a letter to the family and everything like that. So what happened, they decided to take a step back and probably do things more organized, because I think in South Africa you cannot just decide to marry somebody and that just be the case. I feel like there's certain traditional things that have to take place before the marriage is happening or happens. So I think they took a step back and decided to do things properly. I think he mentioned Tabby's connection with Lindile created a bit of envy in him, and it made him come to the realization that he hadn't been treating Tabby very well. And I think it made him want to step up, and it made him realize the reason for even wanting to be in a relationship with Tabby in the very first place. So, as I said before, this is what this type of show does. If you're stuck on if you're stuck, it unsticks you. Whether it be to unstick you to leave the relationship or unstick you to, do what you need to do in the relationship. And for Genesis, it made him do what he needs to do in that relationship. So he didn't look at it like jealousy, like how Lindile did. He looked at it like, I'm happy that Lindile was able to show my woman how she wanted to be treated, and by learning things about how Lindile treated her, I can make changes to treat her how she wants to be treated. And of course we can all say this can be done simply by communication, but a lot of the time when you're in relationships for so long, the man tends to take you for granted after some time because he feels like you're never gonna leave anyway, so I feel like this was a situation where both parties were comfortable, and I think she was starting to become uncomfortable, which is why she issued him the ultimatum, like, what are we doing here? Okay. So I'm happy he saw it in that way. Sizekele stepped up to say, I wish I took the approach that Genesis took in regards to seeing the benefit of exchanging partners. Initially, she didn't see it like that. She saw it as a sabotaging of her relationship with Lindile. And in present moment, following Genesis' lead, she decided, you know what? Thank you, Tabby. You caused or created some positive changes in Lindile that I appreciate. Although I don't want to give you the credit for changing him positively, it is true that it is because of this experience that he has changed for the better, for me, for us, for this relationship. So I'm happy to see Sizikele, although at the moment she was jealous, she came to realize, okay, what are the positives of this? Which is, I guess, Genesis's approach. Now, they said there was no specific date for Lindile and Sizikele's marriage, but he said it was gonna take place within this year. So we're gonna wait to see. I'm gonna be stalking the pages to see if Sizikele has been shopping for like wedding gowns and outfits and things like that. But what I've noticed with most of the cast is that the situation happened with the show, but they're all taking their time. I found in the American version, they got married quickly after the proposal. There was probably a couple that decided we need to go to therapy and stuff like that, but for the most part, after the show takes place, they get married oftentimes before the reunion takes place. And but I guess in a South African culture, it's a different type of thing. It's not just about asking parents for approval. There's a way to do certain things. So Lindile has sent letters to the parents informing them of his intentions with their child, and it's just a matter of setting a date this year, I suppose, and getting married. Now, my fear oftentimes with this show is I wonder if they're doing things for the right reasons or if they're rushing because of the pressure of people's expectations, because I don't ever want to feel as if people are getting married just because the public expects them to do it, because I know this show perpetuates like the whole thing of either you get married or you leave each other, but I feel like in everything, time needs to be taken to decide, are we making the right decision? Are there any hesitations? Are we doing this for the right reasons? Is it for us or is it for other people? And I think in regards to all of them, I commend them for taking their time. Because, yeah, we did this public show, but it's still our lives. And we're still making a really big decision. So we're going to take our time. So good for them. Sizikele regrets going to Kenya and sitting at the table despite Kenya, throwing a fit and calling her all kinds of disrespectful names. And it's not even the name calling that was the big issue. It was the name calling as well as the aggression that she had when it came to addressing Sizikele. Like, I understand you're frustrated. This woman and your man are coming out to do what? To confront me. I understand the defensiveness, but she took it to a level that it was difficult to come off of. Like it was taken too far. And I think a lot of attention or a lot of focus should have been on Kenya and the way she moved throughout the entire season, but a lot of it was spent on Nola and Lebo. I think that was a missed opportunity for them, because a lot of people wanted to hear more of why Kenya behaved the way she behaved, and nobody wants to hear your explanation in generalities like I shouldn't have behaved. No, people want you to speak specifically on what you did and why you did it in that moment. And she didn't do that. We didn't get that from her. We were kind of, I believe, not blindsided, but cheated of that opportunity for proper accountability of Kenya, not just this easy way out that she got. Anyway, Sizikele apologized. She spoke up for, I don't think she defended herself. I wish she did. But then again, I've already said this before. This thing took place a year ago. These people have probably apologized to each other and decided to let things go. But all reality shows do that. That's not the point. The point is, let's go back to that place, address our feelings at that time, and decide, or I should say not decide, but speak on how you've changed, as opposed to skating by and then just saying, oh, it was just terrible, And we saw Aiden and Courtney, not much to say about them. He finally got a job. I'm proud of him. They're still engaged. They're taking their time. Everybody wants to be financially ready before they get married. So, of course, they're taking their time as well. finally Nketeko Kanya, he doesn't regret the promise ring because he sees things in Kanya that he doesn't want for a wife. They both have issues because she was saying, oh, it's not only me, it's also you. So I'm not putting it past Nketeko to have issues as well. Because to put up and be attracted to that type of woman, you have to have internal problems yourself. He takes responsibility for his part in her actions. And I will say that I disagree to a certain extent for in regards to taking accountability for somebody else's behavior. Because yes, you guys both decided to go on this very unconventional experience where you are in each other's faces but with other people. It's triggering, right? But nobody else in the cast got on the way Kanya got on, right? So I think all of them practiced self-control except for Kanya. So I don't think it's right for him to step in and say, okay, it's my fault too because I decided to take this experiment seriously. How could you? That doesn't even make sense. You know what I'm saying? So I feel as if she decided to bring him on this platform. I'm pretty sure they've seen the American version of the Ultimatum before and they know what to expect. So for him to or her to make excuses for it and just kind of cover it under, oh no, I'm doing therapy. It's like therapy is the magic word. All you have to say is that you're in therapy and it's like everybody forgets everything else, and I don't like that. They should have held them accountable more. I think we've seen enough episodes of the American version of the Ultimatum to understand what the viewers want to see. We want to see people being held accountable. We don't want things to be rushed and swept under the rug. We don't want attention to be placed too much on things that it doesn't need to be placed on. You know, we need enough time for equal attention to be placed on all the problematic things that took place in the season. And I just feel like there was a big inconsistency when that was taking place. Hopefully, if they do decide to do a second season, they work on making the reunion a more balanced reunion, one that is of greater accountability, one that is like holding them more to the fire, not grilling them, not like holding them to the stake or like punishing them, but putting their actions in front of their faces and having them tell us or give us an explanation as to what was the thought process at that moment, and ensure that they give thorough answers and not quick answers and covering it with, okay, now I'm in therapy. I don't think that was good enough at all. So Nketeko said something that was quite alarming. He said when they're in a good place, she's a sweetheart. That's extremely alarming because at the end of the day, when anybody's in a good place, they are good. There's no need for them to act out and be terrible people. The problem is the bad place. You know, how is or are you reacting when your back is against the wall and you think everybody's attacking you, or when you feel like you're being disrespected? How is it that you're going to move forward from that? That is more important than how you act during the good times. Nobody acts bad during good times. And if they do, that's another big red flag. But it's during the bad times, during the times when she didn't know what to do with her jealousy. She didn't know what to do with her anger. Or she didn't know what to do with her big emotions. So she decided, okay, I'm going to put it on who I deem as the person that is causing me to have these emotions. And really and truly, nobody is to blame for the way you decide to react and respond to things. That is all you. Everybody on this cast is grown. Nobody's a child. And Kanya needs to really work on her emotional regulation. She did say she had worked on it. She had apologized to people behind closed doors. But I don't think that as viewers, that works for us. We want to see that on screen. And yes, she did apologize for the way she acted by calling Sizekele a bad name, but she didn't apologize for all the other things that she did. And I wish they addressed the thing with Ruth, and you know, the way Kanye gaslights people and, you know, makes the issues she has, she puts it on other people. She projects too much. Anyways, so they got back together. They apparently were working with therapists and doing all that. At some point when they were trying to, you know, work on their relationship, a baby, she got pregnant. The child is 3 months old, and Nketeko was extremely grateful for having his son. The child wasn't created in the ideal situation, but he's happy he gets a chance to be there for his child the way his father wasn't there to be. The father wasn't able to be there for him because the father passed away from an illness. So for that, I'm happy for him, but I'm also sad that the child has to be in a broken family. I understand she wanted her child within a marriage, but Kanya has to understand that that explosive personality is not going to work very well in a relationship, far less for in a marriage. And the marriage is a greater stake. You have a lot more to lose, so nobody wants to get or make that huge of a commitment if they're gonna be with a partner as volatile as this. Like, I don't know what you're gonna do when you're mad. You might stab me one night. Like, you might burn my clothes and end up burning our house one night. Like, nobody knows what Kanya is gonna do. I understand there's more facets to Kanya, but what we did see was problematic. And I'm kind of upset that there was no structure in order to delve deeper into why she did it and what caused it for her, and what childhood trauma did she have that makes her react in this way when she feels threatened or jealous or upset with people. The wine throwing onto Nkateko should have been discussed. Treating Sizekele how she did on multiple occasions, bullying her, should have been discussed. And I'm so upset that it wasn't. That was such a missed opportunity of a reunion. My goodness, for a show that was so good, the reunion, which was supposed to be the cherry on top of the entire season, was such a letdown. So what else are we gonna speak on? I think that was that for the most part. So let me know what you guys thought about that reunion. It was disappointing, I know. Like, subscribe. See you guys next time. Bye.